Today we're going to talk about the principles of dog training. We're going to talk about timing, consistency, and motivation. Timing is very important when we're training our dog because they are in the now creatures. They are in the moment. They don't worry about the past or the future. They worry about right now. So it's important that we time our treats and our leash pressure accordingly to their actions. That's why it's very important when you're practicing at home, you have the training equipment on your dog at all times, not just in class. It's very important that you train with the training equipment, like a leash or collar on your dog at all times. We also use marker words to bridge the gap of communication between their action and our reward or our punishment for them. For example, if I say yes, he knows that he's going to get something to eat because has a strong reward history with that word plus a treat. So when I'm working with him, it's really easy to communicate, you're doing something right, yes, and he gets a piece of food. It's also important that you have some treats on you, not in a Ziploc bag because it's going to be hard for you to get and that timing is going to be off. Next, we're going to talk about consistency. It's very important that you're consistent with your dog, especially outside of class. So for example, the training equipment that we give you, again, on your dog while you're working. That way if he makes a little mistake, we can help him with a little bit of leash pressure, but also having the food with you on hand so we can stay consistent with our reward history and with our rewards with them. Also, motivation. What motivates your dog? A lot of dogs like praise and petting, and that's great, but we also want to use treats when we're working with him. So he's a pretty food motivated dog, so I could just use his regular dog food and he's going to eat it, no problem. Other dogs, not so much, especially when you're in the class environment. They might get a little nervous. What are you doing? They might get a little nervous. You want to bring a higher value treat for them to enjoy. So find a dog food or a dog treat that your dog really likes and bring plenty of it to class. Also, help your dog be motivated by not feeding them before you bring them to class. If your dog is full, they're going to be less likely to be motivated to work for your treats. So come to class ready with a bunch of treats, a hungry dog, and a great attitude because we're going to have fun. So we're talking about training equipment, how to put the training equipment on your dog. It matters how you put it on your dog, whether you want them on your left-hand side or your right-hand side. So if you want your dog to walk on your left-hand side, you're going to put it on them like a P for puppy. So we're going to slip it over his face looking like a P. And then we want to make sure it's right behind his ears and right under that jawline. This will protect his trachea area, and this will also give us max control of where our dog's head's going, and if we can control their head, we can control their body. If you want to come around and zoom in a little bit, you can see it's right here, and you'll take this leather tab and slide it down, and it's going to hang off them just like this. So see, I just give a little tug, and he's exactly where I want him to be. Also, this is important for him to wear in the house, because if I'm working with him, for example, on this bed, if he were to get off, I can quickly grab this collar and put him back on. Now, if you wanted him to be on the other side of you, if you wanted him to walk on your right-hand side, you make it look like a Q or a number 9. Slip it over the exact same way, nice and high, right under the jawline, and then you slide this leather tab down, making it a little snug, but again, not too tight. I can still fit some fingers under there. And then it's nice and comfortable for him. We're avoiding that trachea area. The next piece of training equipment you should bring to class every time would be your treat pouch. You're going to get one of these before class. It's really important that you have it on you because you don't have room to put a Ziploc bag in your pocket, and then if you do that, you might spill treats all over the place. So it's really convenient to just have this, fill it up as much as you want, and then bring extra treats in a Ziploc baggie. Later, if you run out of treats, you always have more. It's really convenient and easy timing to just reward your dog and get stuff done. Alright, so these are your level 1 credentials. So this is what you and your dog need to be able to do to pass level 1 and to go on to level 2 obedience training. So loose leash walking. Basically, your dog walks somewhat in your bubble without pulling, right? And if he does, Rowdy, good boy, we call him back, and then we get him back into our bubble. So we can also use treats. He just can't pull on the leash. If he starts to walk ahead of you, Rowdy, Good boy. We'll get him back. So this is all they have to do to pass level 1 for the heeling or loose leash walking portion. The next portion, they have to do a sit, and they have to stay for 30 seconds while you're leash distance away. Now, I'm not quite leash distance due to space, but you get the idea. He has to sit there, stay there for 30 seconds, and then I can go back and reward. The next thing he has to do is you can tell him down with a little bit of leash pressure and maybe a treat, and he has to stay there while I go leash distance away for 30 seconds. Once the 30 seconds is up and he's stayed there, I can tell him good down, and I can reward him with a treat. Free. He also is going to have a release command. A release command is, hey, you don't have to do that anymore. The next thing he's going to cover is come when called. So you're going to throw a treat here. Yes, good. So he knows that word means come back to me. So we're going to do it one more time. Again, this is all your dog has to do to pass level 1 is go away from me here and come back, sit, and get your reward. And that's level 1. The level 2 credentials. You have to pass these to move on to level 3. So we're going to be working a little bit closer to other dogs, but the first thing you're going to have to do is draped leash heeling, meaning your leash is going to be pretty loose and he has to walk next to you the entire time while you're changing your pace. So for example, heel, I can walk slow and he has to stay next to me, or I can walk fast and he has to keep up at my pace. Good heel, and the leash is very loose. So this is draped leash heeling, so he has to stay with me. Your dog doesn't have to look at you the entire time, but they do have to stay in your space, and he just knows to sit at my side anyway. Also, again, we're going to be working closer to other dogs. You're going to have a 1-minute sit stay and a 3-minute down stay. So again, that's at leash distance away. He has to sit there and wait there for a minute versus 30 seconds. Good boy. And then we can tell him free, his release word to get up. And then the next one will be down. And again, down stay for, longer periods of time. I think it's 3 minutes. He has to stay there closer to other dogs. That way it's more distracting. We can always reward throughout the training process. Free. And then the recall, which is the come when called, is at a larger distance, so I'm going to get him to go quite a bit of ways away from me. We will not drop our leashes in class. This is just an example. We will have longer leashes available in class to practice, but for now I'm just going to drop it. Here. Good boy. Sit, and we'll reward. So that's a little bit what level 2 will look like. This is to pass level 3. This is to graduate all of our group class courses. You're going to have to do dropped leash heeling, which means the leash is not in your hand at all. We can, if we're working with a lot of dogs, put it in our back pocket, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to go ahead and just drop the leash, heel. He has to walk with me. Again, we have to change pace, but the leash cannot be in my hands. Heel. We'll do around turns. Again, changing our pace from fast to slow, and he has to stay right by my side. Good boy. In the sit stay, we're going to have longer leashes. It's going to be a 2-minute sit stay and a 5-minute down stay. But just for the video, to not take forever, we're just going to show you a little glimpse. He has to sit there and stay. We're going to do more distractions like throw balls, throw frisbees, trying to get them to be distracted. As long as he stays there, great, he gets a treat and he passes. Down. Level 3, your dog should be on a verbal only down. No treats, no leash pressure, verbal only. Good down. And again, it's going to be a 5-minute down stay with distractions closer to other dogs and stuff like that. The last thing, it's going to be a longer recall, so he's going to be kind of at the other side of the room and you're going to have to call him back. So I'm going to get him to go over there by throwing a treat. Again, during class, every single dog will be on a long leash for safety, but since it's just him right now, I can kind of drop the leash. So free, throw him all the way over there. You're silly. Free. families, in our level 3 class, we will be doing some tricks. So just as a couple of examples, sit pretty. Your dog will be able to perch up like that. We will teach them a few tricks. With me. We might be able to teach your dog to weave. Good job. We're going to introduce all of these tricks. Weave. Yes, good boy. And then an easy one for your dog to know would be spin, spin, turn, turn. Good boy. So level 3 is going to be a lot of fun. Hope to see you there.